Crop farmers in Clark County and the Arkansas Delta are racing the clock to get their crops in between rain events. In Clark County, acreage is much smaller than in East Arkansas, but rainfall has been excessive and some acres have had to be replanted. Time is running out before yield and crop quality starts to decline.
Well, this corn was planted April 3rd, and it has had 14 inches of rain on the corn since we've planted it. It's come in spurts of 2 to 3 inches at a time, and it never has really went underwater except for the very bottoms that you can see right here behind me, and it struggled to a stand. Our emergence has been uneven, partially due to the weather, and we haven't lost a lot. We probably are going to have to replant about 20 acres out of our 250 that we have planted right now. But it struggled to that uneven emergence, and it's kept us from additional herbicide and fertilizer applications. We typically hit our best window to get soybeans planted right about this date. But we're also looking at an additional 3 to 4 inches of rain during this week. So we're at least 10 days out if it rains that before we ever get in and plant any more soybeans.
It's an incredibly tough planting year. Derek is actually one of the very few that have gotten anything in the ground so far this year or been able to work any of the ground. Most of our farmers have not been able to work the ground at all. Well, that means delayed planting dates, which means reduced yields. It also means, like Derek mentioned, you can't get your herbicide applications out or your fertilizer out. It causes a lot of issues. There are decisions to be made. There are some options. You know, do I switch from corn over to beans? And if I do, can I even get seed? Seeds, hard to come by this year. What are the market prices, and what do I already have booked? So there are a lot of decisions to be made. But without the rain stopping, there's not a whole lot we can do.
In southeast Arkansas, DeShay County farmers were taking advantage of a brief dry spell to do ground preparation and get what seed they could planted. But rain continues to fall, and farmers are having to adjust their planting decisions the later it gets.
We're at Jacob and Frank Appleberry Farms right at Tiller, just right off county line of Drew County. They're really racing right now to get their bean crop in. They've planted some corn, but they've had to replant a lot. We've had a tremendous amount of rains and cold temperatures that's really affected our ground, and we've had seed sit in the ground for a month on end, and we had poor stands. So we really had to come back about this last week with this last dry spell that we've had and replant a good portion of the acres that have already been planted. If we continue getting these rains in these 3 to 5 inch rains that it's been pouring down on us for like the last 3 months, we've had nothing but 3 to 5 inch rains. We're starting to see a lot of ground that is almost rotting. Farmers are not being able to get into. There was very little to no prep work that was done in the fall. Jacob and Frank Appleberry here, they've had most all their field work has been done this spring. So that put a lot of farmers behind the 8 ball as well on planting this year. What was mostly done in the fall over 2 months has now had to be done in less than 2 weeks this spring. And with continued rains that we've had, they just hadn't had a window to do any work. We're really looking at really loss of yields right now of being so late planted. A lot of acres that they were planning on planting in corn and rice has now had to change over to a lot of bean ground just because we're getting so late in the season. Yields are starting to decrease. So the thing that always in the back of my mind, we've received about 25 inches since the first of the year. What's that looking like? We're already at the year's almost the halfway mark for the year average. Does this mean we're looking at a hot, dry summer where we're not going to get any rain on crop if we do get it planted? So I'm afraid water might be shut off during the summer, and I'm hoping we don't come back in the rain with the fall. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed really on that one.